So here we go. Look at that.
Piece of cake.
But let's see if I can get a roll. Look at that gyro working to keep it level. Look at that.
Very nice.
That's Dave. I got a porta potty behind me, man. I can't do that. That looks terrible.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to RC Video Reviews. Today we've got the build recap and maiden flight of the little 850mm Ranger by FMS. Before I get into the content, I need to let you know this video is sponsored by FMS, who sent this Ranger out for review. If you'd like to pick one of these airplanes up for yourself, I will have affiliate links in the description. Be aware, if you use my affiliate links, the channel does get a little bit of a kickback, but don't worry, that doesn't cost you anything extra. That expense is covered by FMS. I just recently covered the first look video on this airplane, and I mentioned that in the description it's a little bit confusing about whether or not it's a gyro or return to home or a reflex, and I have the answer to the question because I had a chance to read the manual and work on the plane. And what I'll tell you is that it has a GPS right here on the top. That little guy right there is the GPS unit, and that connects to the little flight controller that's inside. And it does also have a gyro, so it's got 3 modes: stabilize mode, auto level mode, and off. No gain control on this one, so it is very simple. The idea on setting up is when you take the plane and set it up outside and it has an unobstructed view of the sky and you plug it in, there's an indicator light on the nose that'll blink, and when it gets a GPS lock, it goes solid. That's how you know you've got a GPS lock. And then to activate the GPS on the little radio here, you press that button, and what'll happen is the GPS will do return to home. For 3 to 5 seconds, the airplane takes control, and after the 3 to 5 seconds, you can either allow it to keep returning to home, or you can intervene with the sticks and take control yourself. So we're going to try that today, and we'll also give the gyro a go because today is a very windy day. We've got quite a bit of wind, and that is a little tiny plane. We did put it on the scale. I'll show you that now, and then we'll take it for a flight. All right, we're looking at the 850mm Ranger. 0.96 is the all-up weight. That's the plane, and it does have the 850 milliamp hour battery in there. So that is the all-up weight of this plane ready to fly. It is 0.96 pounds. We're just going to round that up to 1 pound. Usually I do power testing on this one, but it's got a little JST connector, and I can't connect that to my watt meter. So we're just going to stipulate it's not overly strong. It's a 1 pound airplane, and I expect it has less than 1 pound of thrust. So it should be enough to fly. I'm not worried about that. But like I said, normally we do some power testing. I just can't connect this one to my test equipment, so we'll have to go without that this time.
The thrust test on this one is easy. It has thrust.
It has thrust. All right, let's go fly this little plane. You have to plug this one in where the plane has an unobstructed view of the sky because you've got a GPS up here. And also notice that we are on the other end of the runway, and the reason for that is because there was no information in the book about how this gets its GPS lock or whether or not you could change that lock. So in my case, I'm just going to assume that wherever it gets the lock, it will consider that to be the home place, which is why I'm out here on the edge of the runway. So I'm just going to flip the plane over.
Hey Charlie, that's the biggest plane you got, right?
Yeah. These are cute little planes, man. Yeah. I'm anxious to see how it does in
this hurricane?
In the hurricane.
Okay,
so,
well, getting ready to find out.
Man, that just looks like it's dying to come off. So I don't like that. I want this to be tucked in a little better because I don't want that little cover to come off during flight. All right. Is that better?
If it does, that little cover with this wind, we'll have to go pick it up in Timbuk 3.
Yeah, no kidding.
Not in Timbuk 2, a little further than that, Timbuk 3.
Well, the landing light is on solid, and that's what it says it needs in order to get the GPS. And I do have control. I've got aileron, elevator, rudder, but no throttle. So I guess we just have to wait. It said it would go solid, and it is solid. Up. Saw the elevator pitch there. Oh, how about that?
Nice.
Well, the light up front has been solid the whole time, so I'm not sure about the indicators, but the book did say that the elevator would pitch up twice when it got a GPS lock, so we're gonna go for it. There are 3 modes on the gyro. You have stabilized mode, auto level mode, and off. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it on stabilized mode because we do have some wind. So I've checked the gyro out. It looks like the control surfaces do work the correct way. So we're just gonna take off. No dual rates on this either, so you get what you get. So this will be the first flight of the 850 millimeter Ranger, and we're giving it a tough test because we do have some wind. So here we go. Look at that.
Piece of cake.
Now, I don't know why the transmitter's beeping, but I noticed that when I was doing my setup testing as well, that it beeped like that. But let's trim the plane just a little bit. Look at the gyro work. Whoa, look at the gyro working there. You see it fighting the wind? Well, the gyro's doing a pretty darn good job, man. It is blustery out here, and it is holding the plane pretty steady. And the plane has sufficient power even in this wind. Like, that is a straight on headwind, probably, see how slow I can get it to go. Probably 15
Reverse.
miles an hour. That's at least 0 ground speed. There's
That's
negative.
backwards.
There it is. Nice. We're flying kites.
Man, you keep doing that, you're gonna end up recharging your battery.
Yeah, maybe get that prop spinning backwards. Fill the battery up. 850 milliamp hour battery. This is one of the things I like about gyros. You know, you have people, there are a lot of people out there who are real down on gyros, and I gotta tell you, I don't care. Because look at this little tiny plane. We're out here flying and other people aren't. And this is a little tiny airplane without a lot of power. Doesn't have a lot of power.
The gyros have their place.
They do. Been saying that for a long time. Let's see, I don't expect much in terms of maneuverability. I'm gonna gain a little altitude just to see, but let's see if I can get a roll. No rates, so I don't have any ability to influence that. So that's all we get. Okay, let's try that return to home. I'm gonna try it. The idea is I should be able to hit the button and it'll fly this way for 3 seconds. There's the return to home. It's climbing and I don't see it returning to home.
I think it's going home, but it's going to your home.
Yeah, it's going to my house. It was definitely not coming back this way. Let's try it one more time. I'm gonna do that a little bit closer. And I'm gonna pass the home point, hit the button. It definitely climbs. And it wants to go that way. Is it gonna turn? Oh, hey, there it is, turning. It's gaining altitude. I'm not doing this, by the way. That's the plane flying itself at this point. I am not doing that. So it's gaining altitude. Yeah, so far it doesn't, like, when I hit the GPS button, it definitely reacts. Like, if I hit the GPS button, I'm gonna climb a little bit and see. But when I hit the GPS button, it seems to want to climb. But what I'm not seeing is I'm not seeing a break to my home point. So let's see, I'll try it one more time. There's the GPS button. And yeah, there it is climbing again, and it made a turn to the right. I want to see if it makes a turn back on its own. Yeah, I don't know where it's going, but that's not toward my home. It's not toward my home point. And I have to take control because any further than that, and I probably would lose it. I probably would lose orientation. So we'll have to do some checking on that. I'm not gonna call it a failure yet. I'm just gonna call it didn't work this time. So we'll work on that. But for now, let's see if I can get it on the ground.
Hi, this is Future John. Fred and I went out on a subsequent flight, and I have that footage playing now. And I was very prescriptive about the GPS setup. In fact, I plugged the plane in on its wheels, and I paid attention to the landing light, and it did blink multiple times, and then it turned solid, and after it's turned solid, the elevator did cycle twice. That is literally the textbook definition on the GPS mode. And on subsequent flights, same deal. I'd press the GPS button to have it come back to home, and it didn't necessarily climb this time, but it's almost like it would just kind of level out and just start flying away. It never really made that turn to home, and I'm not sure what to make of that. So if you know anything about getting the GPS return to home mode working on this little plane, do me a favor and leave a comment in the comments below, because I couldn't get it working. Although I did very explicitly see the performance and the indicators on the plane that are described in the manual exactly.
But for now, let's see if I can get it on the ground.
Nice.
Yeah, look at that little tiny airplane in these winds, and we're out here flying it. That's a pretty good gyro in my opinion.
Yep.
I'm going to try the auto level mode on this one too, Dave. That's another one that a beginner should be interested in.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to flip it into auto level, which is right there. All right, so I've got it on auto level mode right now. That is full left aileron right there, and that's all I get out of it. So it's fairly docile. It's about 20 degrees, 20 to 30 degrees. And I'll try the same thing with pitch. I'm going to give it full power, pitch up, and yeah, it just kind of bails out of that on me. So auto level mode does work. And again, we're dealing with some nasty wind here. Auto level mode is off now, of course, but look at that gyro working to keep it level. Look at that.
Very nice.
Perfect. All right, one more touch and go and then we'll wrap this up. You know, for those of you who are beginners, I would say that the thing that I would find challenging about this plane for a beginner is it's small. So when you're flying, it can get away from you fairly quickly. All right, let's take it over to the bench and wrap this video up. What I would say is for beginners, everything works. The stabilizer works, the auto level works, it's got enough power to fly around, everything's included in the box. So it's a decent little plane to start with in terms of completeness and getting you up and flying. That part's good. On the other hand, it is a little small. So I would say as a beginner, orientation could be a little problematic on a plane this small. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe your eyesight's better than mine. Maybe your orientation's better than mine. But that's just something to be aware of. It is a small plane, so if it gets too far away, it'd be really easy to lose orientation on this one. For those of you who are more advanced pilots, I could see this being a fun little chuck and go plane, something to keep in the car. Try squeaking a flight on the way home from work maybe, stop by the field and get a flight in. That makes sense to me. It's an interesting little plane, fun to knock around. I would not consider this an athletic plane. It's not. I didn't see the ability to do maneuvers. I wasn't even going to try a knife edge. I was able to do a roll. I didn't get a loop in, and I wasn't going to try with this wind. It's just a little too much for this little power plant. But just in terms of tooling around, maybe practicing some touch and goes, working on orientation, all that stuff is fine. No problems with this plane. Dave, do you have anything to add?
It's a very tiny little airplane. It's hurricane force winds. I think it's great. If the wind was a normal, the day was a normal day, I think it would have been just gorgeous, fantastic, steady. Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, fun little plane to tool around with, right? Just kind of enjoy and cruise around and enjoy RC. This is what I call a low tension airplane. You don't have a whole lot of money in it. It's got very docile handling characteristics. So yeah, just a fun little plane to enjoy the hobby a little bit.
Yeah, just look at the size of the plane and look at the wind and look at how it flew. So that's got to say a lot about the airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wraps up my maiden flight of the 850mm Ranger by FMS. I'll remind you, I have affiliate links in the description if you'd like to pick up one of these planes for yourself. Thanks to FMS for sending this model out for review. If you like this kind of content, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when new videos hit the channel. That's all I've got for today. Take it easy.
Hasta la vista.
And go fly something.
Hey, if you like the work I do here on RC Video Reviews, please consider joining me on Patreon. For about the price of a cup of coffee, you can help me keep making videos just like this one. If you'd like to help out, there's a link in the description and on your screen.
That's Dave. I got a porta potty behind me, man. I can't do that. That looks terrible. Yeah, let's do it right here. That's a terrible backdrop, man. Okay. All right, we tared the scale and we are at 0.89 pounds. That is the all-up weight. That is with the battery inside. Does it have battery in it?
I don't know.
Who's running the show here, man?
You.
God dang. It's terrible. All right, there we go. Now we have all-up weight. This is the longest weigh-in segment of every plane we've ever done.
The easiest one, the smallest one.
The scale's off.